Are you ready? Stand by.
Welcome to the Three Gun Show, brought to you by Armalite. I'm your host, Dave Hartman, and my guest this week is Three Gunner and Rock Hard Match Director, Bruce Davidson. Bruce, how are you?
I'm very good, Dave. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you, Bruce. I'm excited to get into our topic here, but before we do that, if you like this type of podcast, subscribe in iTunes and make sure that you are a Patreon supporter as well. Patreon supporters get access to special match recon podcasts, private Facebook group, various other levels of engagement and rewards. Check that out at patreon.com/3gunshow. That's Patreon. And be sure to listen after the podcast for a special offer from Armalite. And enjoy this one with Bruce Davidson. Bruce, where are we finding you today?
I am hanging out in my barn in Shelbyville, Kentucky, just outside of Louisville.
Nice. Now, your barn, drafty tobacco hanging from the rafters, some mules running around.
Well, it's not that kind of barn, as most of them are in Kentucky. But from where I sit, I can see my donkeys. I do have 2 donkeys out running in the yard. But this is a brand new barn, steel building, fully insulated, fully finished, and bathrooms and pool tables and gaming stuff and refrigerators and beer. So, you know, my buddies call it a man cave, which I think is kind of a old, tired term. But
yeah,
here we are in the man cave.
Nice. I like calling it the barn. It sounds agricultural, and people think you might actually be out there working and everything.
Yeah, sometimes I work, but yeah, I don't mind sounding like a hick. I kind of am. So yeah, barn works good. And I got a nice fire going today, so I think it's up to about 65 degrees, and it's quite pleasant in here.
Excellent. Well, it's so I'm in Lakewood, Colorado. It's about 21 degrees outside right now. And the Three Gun Show studio has these 3 giant windows that are facing the south, and which is good because we get sunlight, right? But there's no sun today. It's all cloudy. And so I was all pumped because I'm like, oh man, I got this view. And I spent 8-9 years in aerospace with these buildings that were built in the Cold War, and they had no windows whatsoever. So it was always drab and, cinder blocks everywhere. So I was like pumped. I get these windows, and it is freaking freezing in here.
Oh, because of the window?
Yeah.
Well, it's the price you pay.
I know. So I need to get like a wood stove or something like that.
Then you got to go start chopping wood, and man, that's a vicious circle. I have this giant pile of wood behind the barn, and I love to gaze upon it, and it hurts a little bit every time I bring in another load and stack it by the fireplace. I'm thinking, damn, I need to get out there and split some more wood.
Yeah, it's a never-ending process, just kind of chasing your tail on splitting wood.
Right.
Well, Bruce, we're here to talk about a match that you run at the Rock Castle Shooting Center called Rock Hard, and its inspiration and where it came from and stuff. But before we get into that, let's take it back to your start in competitive shooting, and let's talk about how you got into shooting. But first, tell us what you do when you're not on the range. What's Bruce's life look like away from Rock Castle?
Ooh, not on the range is tough. I run a retail business. It's a pet store. That's in Louisville. I actually took that over from my mom, so I've been working for her for 27 years. She's on her way out, and I don't know anything about the business. Of course, that's her opinion. But anyway, so that's the day-to-day. It's a 3,000 square foot building. I keep 13 employees. So, the big thing is managing people at that point. It's not a small business anymore. You got people that are trying to work for you. So that's tough. Although after as many years as I've been there, having good management is really where it's at. So that's why I'm off on a Thursday afternoon hanging out in my barn, because I've got 2 managers that are out there making me money.
Very cool.
Yeah, so the pet store's fun. It's mostly aquatics. I really spent the majority of my career doing aquariums and doing custom aquariums and that was always a lot of fun, designing great big systems. I got to install the world's largest jellyfish tank for a restaurant. And if you're in the area, Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, West Virginia, if you've ever eaten at a Cheddar's restaurant, I put that aquarium in there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I decided life is a lot easier if I just pay myself more and then quit going out and humping to try to sell big aquariums to people. A lot less hassles that way. So not too many custom aquarium jobs anymore unless they're very lucrative.
Right. Yeah, so you kind of do like the premium end of it then, so you don't roll out of bed for just a normal installation?
Yeah, to get me to work outside of work, it's going to be a whale, or something that's really, really exciting to me. But honestly, that's hard. I mean, the money is really good, but it's hard work. And the thing I think that gets me out of that most is that at some point your time belongs to someone else.
Yeah.
When you sell somebody a $1 million aquarium, they kind of expect you to keep tabs on it. And after being in the retail business and giving up all the personal life for so long, that's very valuable to me. So I'm very cautious to give anyone control of a Saturday or a Tuesday night or anything.
Yeah, you kind of become their like consultant then from there on out, right? It's not just like a handover. Well, see you later. Good luck with your big ass aquarium. Yeah,
right. And then it's tough to bill. You make good money, but then if you're just talking to them on the phone or they expect you, hey, swing by on your way home from work. It's no big deal. So yeah, there's a lot of time there that there's just no billing for anymore.
Yeah, it's like that with a lot of specialty things, and I've heard that from some gunsmith friends. Right, you end up being like tech support all the time. You own the shotgun rather than the customer does.
Right. Yeah.
That's
yeah, but I touched on some bad things. Life is pretty good. I am my own boss.
Sure.
So as we become more successful, then our time, we get a lot more of our time. We can take days off and do whatever we want to do. Although next Saturday I am missing a local 3-gun match because all of my keyed employees, I've got 3 people with keys, they're all going out of town. So I'll be working, slinging fish while my buddies are shooting 3-gun.
Slinging fish. So you got the pet store, aquarium type stuff. You have your hand in like a lot of other hobbies as well. Like we've been friends for about a year right now, and we've had quite a long conversation when we did the Industry Choice Awards together as well. And you've got some other interesting hobbies and interests as well.
Yeah, I like to call it toy airplanes. So I've been flying remote control sailplanes since I was a little kid, about 13 years old, I guess. But for the past 30 years, I got serious about that and started competing. And believe it or not, that's a world-class event. So, there's a world championship every other year, different disciplines. And so that started out really good for me. It was great. My wife was into it. We traveled to competitions just about every weekend. Ended up as a sponsored pilot for a bunch of different companies through the years. Competed, at the national championship level. I was able to win the nationals a couple of times. Competed at the world championship level, so I got to wear the USA colors and represent the country while I was out in other countries.
Wow.
Yeah, fantastic. So that's kind of waning. As Christine is my wife, she was very tolerant. She really would rather hang around with a bunch of dudes than a bunch of girls. So it was always a good time for her to go to the competitions and hang out, but she never participated. She didn't complain. She certainly looked forward to it, but she never participated. And then we picked up guns. So it's kind of funny. So the backstory of the guns, where that starts. Well, let's not even go to that one yet, right? We're still talking about toy airplanes.
Yeah. Yeah, because we haven't even got to the super interesting part of this yet.
Right. So I decided, one of my sponsors, he was an airplane manufacturer. So I was his talent. I flew his airplanes for him and competed. And one of my national championships was flying one of his models. Well, he was a mentor in how to put on a contest. So this guy was up in Pennsylvania. And so typically when you have an airplane contest, they're a lot like a shooting competition, right? It's a primitive site. And by that, I mean, there's no electricity. It's just like, here's your field.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys can park your cars here and we're going to go fly over there. And that's it. So you go for a 2-day, 3-day competition and all you've got are your buddies and what you brought in. Well, at this point, Denny, my mentor in this whole deal, so he does one up in Pennsylvania and he called it an event. So it was a hand launch glider event and he engaged people for the whole weekend. He had other events. He had a big pavilion and he actually did a pig roast. So the pig roast is going on the first day. Everybody smells it. He had games and he really brought everyone together for, to fly the competition, but more importantly, to do a bunch of other organized things together and to fill the time. And very quickly, it turned into the biggest competition in the United States. Everybody would go there every year. It was fantastic. Well, he got older, decided to get out of doing that. This was 9 years ago. So he has his last event and he's done. And I decided, years before that, it was so into flying model airplanes that I went out and bought acreage. I bought 21 acres so I could secure my own flying site for the rest of my life.
Oh, wow.
They're like flying sites are like shooting ranges. So
Yeah.
they pop up and then for some reason, political or whatever it is, they disappear.
Dude, check this out. We've got a remote control plane place, or I don't know what you call it, landing strip, airport, something like that.
RC,
Say it again.
RC Field.
Yes, we have one of those in just outside of Golden, and in Golden, Colorado, and it used to be a shooting range.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Right. So the airplanes ate the shooting range.
Yeah. And then now they're probably complaining about the buzzing of the airplanes.
Sure, and they definitely will. That's the problem with them. They always go away. So anyway, I bought this acreage, and Christine and I built a house on it, and decided, I'm going to take over this competition. And it was funny, I kicked the idea around with my friends, and they're all, of course they want a big competition, so they're all giving me the green light and a thumbs up. And I said, what do we call it? And one of my buds says, call it the Bruce, and it stuck. So the Bruce has been going on for 9 years. I host that, and I call it a sailplane event. So just like my mentor did, and I do the same thing. Whereas, of course, it's at my house. So I have 100 people at my house for 4 days every September.
Nice.
And that was part of the motivation of building the barn. Is in the barn I have a full bath and another shower with a flow-through hot water heater. So these guys camp. I encourage everyone to camp. I've got the room. So about 3/4 of the people actually camp on site. They can utilize my showers anytime they want. And, the reason for them to camp is because I have kegs of beer. So, I've been doing that. And since the very first year and all the way till this past September, it's the biggest sailplane competition in the United States. And it's a really big party. And, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from my mentor, Denny. And then doing it here for 9 years, it really taught me a lot about running events and, engaging people for things.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. One of the things that I've noticed, I've seen you speak a couple times at some matches at Rock Castle, and it's not the usual, guy standing on a tailgate. Hey guys, well, I want to welcome you to the match here, and that sort of thing. You speak very animated, and you do engage people as listeners as well, and you don't tolerate people side conversations and stuff like that.
That's right. Actually, I do that at my airplane competition too. When I speak, there's no other speaking. Nobody else gets to talk. It's important. I'm not going to gather everybody together and waste their time.
Right.
So I have important things to say, whether it's a schedule for the day, rules, do's and don'ts, whatever it is. I really need everyone to be engaged in that. So, I get that. I do that with my employees too. That comes from managing people. Is some things you can't tolerate. And I'm really big on evolution, right? So you can't let a small thing go because it evolves into a big thing. And at some point you're saying, how did we get here? So it's all about that evolution. At the very beginning, and I'm going to do it at the Rock Hard, at the shooters meeting, somebody is going to get called out. But you only got to do that to one person. And then they pay attention, then we have fun, and that expedites things too, right? So you pay attention, I say what I need to get to say, and then we're done. We move on and we get to what we came for, shooting or flying.
Yeah, it like sets the tone for the event as well. Yeah.
It does.
I like that. So now these planes you're flying, some of them are like pretty sophisticated, right?
Yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, they're a glider, which means so we don't have any power plant. There's no motor, there's no engine, there's no anything, but we have control surfaces. As it turns out, sailplanes. The inside joke is when someone says, "Oh, I fly RC airplanes," and they're talking about what we call slimers, gassed airplanes, and they ask, you ever fly any powered ones? And we say, "No, I like to think when I fly." So because it's all an exercise in efficiency. Ultimately, you have to be really intimate with how an airplane behaves, and then you have to pay just critical attention to the efficiency of the airframe. It's a game of how long you can keep it in the air. And in order to do that, you got to fly in the right spot. So you got to be able to read the weather. You got to be able to read the wind. And it gets us just past the basics of aviation and takes us into a whole different management program. The cool thing is all the aero engineers worldwide, that's where they gravitate to. So, they're an aero engineer in the real world. Well, if they start flying toy airplanes, once you get the basics, like I can do whatever needs to be done with an airplane. Once you accomplish that, there's no place to go with a powered one. But with a sailplane, it's always about getting that next bit of efficiency. So, we've got skunkwork engineers and just crazy engineers that gravitate towards this. The director of aeronautics at MIT designs these toy airplanes because it's all about efficiency. He actually has a curriculum, so he has his students optimizing toy airplanes. So Crazy. It's really cool that the sailplanes are the highest engineered model airplanes in the model airplane world. Yeah. What's even better is those engineers come to competitions and then a dipshit like me can beat them.
Yeah, a fish slinger from Louisville.
Yeah, I get great satisfaction out of, beating doctors, aeronautical doctors.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, but, that was kind of the appeal. First off is that when Christine started shooting guns, she was actually engaged. We shot our first competition, and after that competition, she dreamed about shooting competitions. Really? She never dreamed about toy airplanes. So it was like the second time that she tells me that she had a dream that we were shooting a match somewhere when I decided airplanes are the secondary hobby, right? That one's gone away. And now the hobby is shooting because Christine likes to shoot. She loves shooting long guns. She's not interested in carrying them around on the clock. So she's not going to do a 3-gun match, but we shoot USPSA together. That's where we got our start, and we still shoot several USPSA matches together every year.
Mm-hmm. How long have you guys been shooting together?
I had to look because I knew you were going to ask me this question. So we bought – there's a funny story behind this one as well. So my wife is Puerto Rican from Brooklyn. Okay. We grew up in Brooklyn. So we're married – this is 2011. I'm not going to try to do that math. Anyway, New Year's Day, 2011. There's a gun show in Louisville, as there is every New Year's Day in Louisville at the convention center. Big gun show. So it's like, hey, let's go to the gun show. Let's buy a gun. Well, the whole way there, so she's of course never touched a gun. The only thing she knows about gun is what she learned off the TV. So driving to the gun show, she's really worried that we can even buy a gun because we don't have a license to have a gun. And we haven't, there's no certification. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Yeah, we'll go. So anyway, we go to the gun show, New Year's Day, 2011, and bought a 2 Rugers. Got a Ruger Mark III pistol and the 22 rifle.
Nice.
So that's it.
Good start.
Home, actually back in 2011, a lot of cameras actually put the date on the picture, which was very helpful because I found a picture of her shooting that pistol off the deck on January 2nd, 2011. And that's where it started.
Nice.
Yeah, so she loved it, and then
So you just started plinking off the back deck.
Started plinking off the deck, across the acreage, the airplane field. So, and at that point it was just having a couple of guns, plinking around with 22s. Back in the day when 22 was almost free, so we shot that a bunch, and then it's that really vicious evolution, right? You get your first gun, and all you can think about is another gun. And you go to every gun store and you're looking at the guns, you're reading magazines, and you turn into this total gun geek, right? And she's right there. She's right there with it. So some of the local shooting indoor ranges, they got guns that you can rent, you can pick up and shoot. So we shoot different ones and pick up guns here and there. Well, in that passion, I'm in the pet store working, and of course, you end up with a gun conversation with customers. And there's this old guy that talks about guns every time he comes in, and he always says, "Man, you need to go shoot a match. You need to go shoot a USPSA match." Every time he's telling me this. Here, check out this website. Look at this. So I look at the website and tell Christine, "Let's go shoot a match. John's going to take us to a match." So it was sometime in 2011. The evolution happened pretty fast. Yeah. Got into it. I'm that way. I've been in competition since I was a really small kid. Always doing some sort of competitive activity, organized competitive activity. So, I have that personality. Christine doesn't. She's not competitive at all, but she likes to have a good time. So anyway, we go. First time, she doesn't shoot. She goes to watch. Shoot the match. So the old guy hangs with a bunch of old guys. They actually have their own squad at the two local ranges that have USPSA matches. And it's all their buddies. They get together, and they all shoot single stack. So it's like, single stack, what's that about? 1911? Yeah, that's cool. So then I got to go buy a couple 1911s.
Just a good reason to go buy a couple guns, right?
It is, right? So, by the second time Christine shoots a match, I'm pretty sure I was shooting the 1911, but my first matches, I looked back on my USPSA history, and we shot limited. So, which makes sense. Everybody gets started. It doesn't matter what you brought with you. Just shoot limited because you can fill your magazines up.
Right.
So, we get to shooting a bunch of matches. And like I said, Christine's dreaming about it, and ends up twisting my arm into her getting a 2011.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, so the secret is, and I'm sure she'll listen to the podcast and say, well, she's heard the story anyway. So, she wants it in 9mm because, she shoots 9mm. It's an easier gun for ladies, and she wants this. Mike Foley's involved in this. He's quite the trickster, and really, really twisted my arm into getting this 2011. The justification was, that's a great gun for 3-gun. Right? A 9mm STI 2011.
Right.
So anyway, end up getting the gun for her that day. She still shoots it. It's a great gun for her. I used it in 3-gun for a while, and then switched to a polymer gun, which I really like my Glocks. So about actually the second year that we were shooting USPSA, both of us, Christine and I, went to the range officer class, the 2-day class, and got certified as range officers. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because 3-gunners will always talk about that guy that brings up USPSA shit at a match.
Yeah.
But as so being an RO now, of course, I'm involved in every single match that I shoot. Which at USPSA, it's great. They're all like-minded individual, and it's funny because I listen to your show all the time, and you can tell the people that came up in USPSA and the people that came up in 3-gun, because the people that came up in 3-gun, they've always got jokes about the USPSA guys. But I got to tell you that I appreciate that super thick rule book. I like what they do. It's very specific what they do. And if you have an opportunity to attend the range officer class, the 2-day class, that's really the way to go. If I have an option as a match director, if guys want to be an RO for me, if one guy's a USPSA certified and the other guy's just a real experienced guy, I'm probably going to pick the USPSA guy if all things are equal.
Okay.
It's a great foundation in what you should do, what you shouldn't do. They've been at it for so long. That's why the rule book is so thick, because everything's been addressed.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're both range officers at this point. She is passively participating as an RO, more of a, running the clock while the actual RO is shooting. But, since that day, every time I shoot, I'm running a squad.
Right.
And I like I said, I like that background. I like USPSA. And it's been a great ride. It was funny when I looked back to see the history when I first shot. My participation in USPSA matches has gone down every single year. It's fewer and fewer matches. And I miss it. I do like that. Early last year, I got a card in the mail that said I made A class in limited, which was a total shocker. It was. I mean, that's it. At this point, I just enjoy shooting, and I'm doing well. I'm not really tracking my classifiers, and certainly not training for them. So that was a real pleasant surprise to get that. The downside is then now that makes me a B class in everything else that I shoot. We have every year the Bluegrass Sportsman League runs Battle of the Bluegrass. It's a major pistol match, and it's only single stock in production. So,
and why is that?
I have to make a decision every time. Is it going to be production or single stock? And now I'm a B class, and those guys just beat the crap out of me.
Yeah, USPSA is a lot of fun. The like you said, the rule set is very well defined. A guest on the show recently said that everyone's been cheating at that game for so long that they've created a rule for everything.
Right. Yeah, right.
And I as well just recently was looking at my classification in USPSA because I was going to go. I was inspired by my friends in the North who are hiding from the winter right now and shooting a bunch of indoor matches during the week, and I thought, I've only ever shot like one indoor match, never on a regular basis. So I think I'm going to make that a part of my off season. And so I had to go dig up my USPSA number and then re-up on USPSA. And man, it's been a long time since I've actually shot a USPSA match. But it's amazing to go back and look at that history and think like, oh, I remember that match. I remember that. And, then there's like the weekend matches. There's the majors you went to. It's all in there. Yeah.
What's your classification?
I don't know what that means. I think it's unbelievably awesome.
Yeah, unbelievably awesome.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what that means. Yeah. It was really fun. I chased B class really hard. I worked hard to get B. I was doing the drills and doing all really it comes down to mag changes and gun manipulation, right? I mean, that's what classifiers are.
Yeah.
But they're good skills. You can shoot really fast with a lot of misses to make B. As you get past that, now the speed's a given. Now accuracy comes in. I like the way that they have hit factor scoring, and there's your outsiders talk. Hit factor. What kind of junk is that? But when you're in it and you're chasing it and you're looking at those classifications, hit factor is a really cool way to score some stuff because it does put an equal emphasis on speed and accuracy.
Yeah.
You can go real fast and miss, but in the lower classes it's fun because I could go real fast and miss, and I could beat my buddies. When we got into shooting, so I've got a local buddy, Tom Young. So he and I did everything together, still do, always shoot. And he would get really irritated because he would go in, getting his hits, and I'm going as fast as I can go, and I'm beating him and missing. And he's just like all wound up. That's not cool. But, it comes together. In the beginning, going fast rewards you. But as you get to the middle ranks and the upper ranks, going fast is a given. Everybody can go just as fast, right? At that level,
right?
You're not going to beat the guy by very much. So speed at that point is not important anymore. It's given that everybody is fast, but now it's accuracy.
Yeah.
So it's a great foundation for pistol. I've felt at times when I was practicing and shooting it, pistol was absolutely my strongest gun. I don't do it as much anymore, so pistol is still strong, but I'd be challenged to go out and shoot a couple of A-class classifiers.
Mm-hmm. Well, pistol is one of those things that you can never shoot enough of it. It's a skill that wanes so fast, And it's a skill that really helps you shine even when you're shooting a 3-gun and just squirting bullets at, giant pizza boxes,
Yeah. And, when you're shooting a bunch of USPSA and then you go to a 3-gun match and it's like 2 hits anywhere, you're thinking, holy crap, I can turn this up to 11.
Yeah, exactly.
Away, it's like, who cares where I hit the target? It's brown.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun.
So I shot production division, and I was kind of I was guided there, because I only had a 9mm Glock, so I was guided there by an early mentor of mine, and I think he recognized that I had terrible accuracy, so I needed to slow down and only have 10 tries at a target. So
that was your governor.
Yeah, exactly. But I had trouble turning it up when I got to 3-gun matches after that. Like that gear stuck. Yeah.
I've been there too. It's funny. You have to switch gears, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is not USPSA. It's 3-gun. You need to be conscious of that as you go out on that first stage. Conscious of that. I've been in that spot a bunch of times too. Or you shoot a stage and you think, why was I hitting A's?
Yeah, exactly.
How did I care so much about those targets to hit A zones?
Yeah, when they can cover your hits with one piece of tape, you're going too slow.
Right, exactly right. And the same thing in reverse. So I've done that as you shoot a bunch of 3-gun and then you get into a USPSA match, and that first stage is the awakening.
Oh yeah.
Right? You shoot that first stage and it's like, holy shit, I was going way too fast for that. Look at all those deltas.
Yeah, I've done that. Gone to like a local USPSA match, and there they parade you around with with the scorekeeper, and you look at all your hits and everything. And I remember thinking on that first stage, oh, right, that's right, we're scoring here.
Yeah, right.
My bad.
These brown things.
Well, so briefly, you got into competition shooting, and as with anything in your life, the competitive spirit kind of took over, and you jumped in full force. So when did it turn into match directing or event planning, and then how did you become the guy that's in charge of the Rock Hard?
So, I live. Talked about that. I'm in Shelbyville, Kentucky. Well, that's about an hour and 45 away from Rock Castle Shooting Center.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys have not been to Rock Castle, then go. That's all I can say. Pick a match and go.
Yeah.
Is absolutely a gem in this shooting industry. So I'm fortunate that I live really, really close. Well, so Brian Vaught, they live a little bit closer than I do. It's their home range. They ran the local 3-gun matches. They ran what they called the Die Hard match. Mm-hmm. So they did the Die Hard for 2 years. Might have been 3. I'm sure Brian will correct me. You can have him on just to make corrections for my podcast.
Yeah.
So anyway,
he sends me correctional text messages all the time.
Good for him. I used to those bought. So they run the Die Hard match was a 1-day match, and it was hard. This was before I had shot any of the hard matches. Hard as Hell is really the only other one in Utah that I've shot. So they have a hard match. It's a 1-day, and it's a local match because it was in March, short days. Being that it's a 1-dayer, they could only have like 30 or 40 people to have big, long, hard stages. So it was pretty much a private match. Anyway, they run it for a couple years. Wonderful success. The second or third year they do it, the problems, the complaints that the Bryans have is that all the shooters there's a whole lot of pissed off shooters out there that can't come into the match, right? Word gets out, videos get out. We're running up hills in the snow and pulling sleds with a bunch of junk in them and just doing crazy hard things. That was appealing to me, which is funny because I'm older now. I'm 51, so at that time I'm in my late 40s. I'm not a go work out, stay fit kind of guy. I mean, I do a lot of things that keep me fit. I'm certainly not a fat bastard, but I'm not the kind of guy, looking at me or hanging out with me, you wouldn't think that I'm going to be all fired up about just getting my butt kicked on a weekend, shooting some physical stuff. But man, it was appealing. I just love, the idea of getting spent, You got 3 minutes on the clock and you're spent, and now you're trying to do these precision rifle, pistol, shotgun shots, whatever. It felt good.
Yeah.
So the Bryans have a problem that everybody wants to shoot their match. The Bryans are also pretty busy. They got families. They're running local matches. So after the last one of the diehards, I talked to them. We talk all the time. But so we're sitting around drinking beers, and they're lamenting about so many people want to do it. And I said, well, make it a 2-day. And they, nah, I don't know, not really, maybe not, maybe we could. And I said, well, I'll do it. I'll be glad to do it. I've got some experience. I'm running this event at my house for airplanes. I know how to do it. I know what I like in matches. So, all of us at shooters are at that point, right? If I was doing this, I'd do that different. And we all have our idea.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I'm a man of action, and I have my idea for the perfect match. So I told the Bryans, hey, I'll make this a 2-day event. I'll be glad to do it. And they said, doesn't hurt our feelings. Yeah, that'd be great because we'd like to shoot it if you did it. So then I talked to Nick and Nate Noble and, pitched them the idea, and they thought, fantastic. Anybody that brings any shooting event to Rockcastle, they're like, fantastic. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
So, I'm green-lighted. I'm green-lighted from the range owners. I'm green-lighted from the 2 guys that did it before. So that was how it all started. And, with my experience before, I decided right away that it wasn't just going to be called a 3-gun match. It was going to be called an event. So that's what I call it, the Rock Hard 3-gun event.
Nice.
And the same thing that I've done with the flying sports is I'm engaging people. So the first thing that I did is I made myself some rules. I want this to be a long-term event. So I want some guidelines for myself before any design work starts, before anything else starts, some rules for myself. And one is to make it an event, to engage people. So, to that end, how do I engage people? How does that exactly work? And what else makes it an event? So, those things are, first off, one of my first rules was the stage is standalone. And by that, I mean, I've done this in the past when I go shoot major matches. For me, as a middle-of-the-road shooter, right, so I'm not in a prize table, there's nothing else for me at a match but the stages and the camaraderie of other people.
Right.
But the stages are it for me. So I'd look at a match fee and divide by the number of stages and ask myself, would I pay $40 to shoot that stage again?
Oh, that's a good question. That's how I've talked myself out of employment on a couple jobs. Like you figure out what the dollar per hour rate is, and then would you do this if I handed you X amount of dollars right now? And then if that answer is no, you got to move on.
Yeah, the answer, if you look back at your matches, it's really a great way to evaluate a match and to decide if you want to go back or not.
I like that.
Of course, there's more things involved in a match, but if we look at it, just the stages. So everything's removed, just the stages. Would I pay $35 to shoot that stage? So in every match that I've attended, 50% of the stages, I would say, absolutely. I'll dig in my pocket. I'll hand someone $35. I'll load my guns, and I'll shoot that stage again. Either because it was a blast to do, well, probably just because it was so fun to do it, right? Or it was very challenging.
Yeah.
So that's one of my rules. One of my design rules is my stages have to stand alone. And so everything else after that is gravy. And then we go into looking at the gravy of the stuff. If we remove the stages, could I entertain these people for a weekend for that much money? What has to come from that much money? So I look at it from 2 angles. At the Rock Hard, all your food is paid for. So you arrive at the lodge, and all food's included in the match. So part of that is motivated from, I absolutely love Rockcastle Shooting Center. So I think my job as a match director is to ensure that they make enough money to be there for me, for me to shoot forever. So that's kind of self-serving, and it's that's okay though, right? Because that's the way I think. And there's one of the things. So, I think, man, and I've always been that way. I go to Rockcastle, I park my car on the lot, and I eat their food and I sleep in their beds. There are better hotels within driving distance, for sure. There are better restaurants within driving distance, but every single dime that I spend at Rock Castle goes towards that shooting facility.
Yeah, I love that concept.
It goes for me to have a place. So, and I see this other match. I don't give people crap. Everybody can make their own decisions, but my close friends, I do give them crap. Like, hey, let's go eat somewhere else. And I say, you guys can, but here's the deal. The money you spend out there does not go towards shooting. The money you spend here only goes towards shooting. So I use that when I did the match. My first meeting with Nick and Nate is, hey, I want to do this match here, and here's the deal. I want to include food. I don't want a deal from you. I don't want a price break on the food because I'm going to get you 135 meals times 4. I want you to charge what someone would charge that just walked in the door. I'm fine with that. They need to make the money. So that's one of the things that happens at the Rock Hard. You paid for it, when you bought the match fee, but your meals are included. We've got dinners in the evenings. We got breakfast buffet with mounds and mounds of bacon. We've got lunches delivered to you on the stages.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, the other thing about including lunches is now there's no lunch break.
Yeah. I got to say, I've been to a lot of matches where I'll be there, shooting a stage where I see the lunch delivery for the ROs. And it's like you were saying, would I pay $35 to shoot that stage? At that time, I would pay whatever the price is, $12 for a sandwich and some chips, because it's always the last stage where I'm like, I'm freaking hungry. I got to get my mind together for this. So that's pretty cool.
It's funny, the mentors that brought me into USPSA shooting, of course, they're old guys. So I got the old guy perspective on everything. And one of the rule number 3 was probably bring something to eat. And, it makes a big difference. I see people I've brought a lot of other people into shooting as well and into USPSA, and you're shooting a match until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and your buddy didn't bring anything. He's got nothing to nibble on, nothing to get his energy back, and it makes a big difference. Up until lunchtime, it doesn't make any difference, but after lunch, the guy that brought snacks is going to whip your ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I guess it does help some shooters because it can be overwhelming. Give them a lunch that's delivered.
Yeah. So out of curiosity, what is the match fee for the Rock Hard?
The match fee was $200, 6 stages.
Oh, okay. And it includes lunch. Sweet.
That includes it. Well, it includes a shirt, and it includes your 2 lunches, 2 breakfasts, and 2 dinners.
Nice.
1 dinner. Right. Anyway, yeah, it's 2 dinners. We're covered for all meals. So when you arrive, you get fed.
I like it.
Yeah. And so then the other thing is, okay, so I've got that covered. What am I going to do with shooters when we're done shooting? Do I let them just wander off and do what they want to do, or do I engage them? And I engage them. So I want to engage people all the way until sunset, and I do that with side matches. And it's really fun because my side matches turn out, I call it the Rock Hard King matches. So I've got a Rock Hard Pistol King, Rock Hard Rifle King, Rock Hard Shotgun King, and Rock Hard PCC King.
Nice.
So the Rifle King match is on Friday night before the match ever starts. It's like the big icebreaker, right? Everybody gets together, we shoot this rifle side match, and it's I don't know. It seems like somebody told the story on your show before, but the Rifle King side match last year comes down to 2 people, and one of them is a junior that's wearing skinny jeans and red tennis shoes. So, and the other is a veteran shooter that a whole lot of people know. I won't mention his name, but it's Brett Anderson. So we're down to the last one. The Rifle King side match is fun. So you come up to the line, you insert your magazine on your rifle, you charge a round, you pull your magazine out. You got 1 round in the gun. So we all start. You got to pay to get in. So the other thing about the match is I wanted it to be more than just a match. This is a Mission 22 charity match. So 100% of the funds generated go to Mission 22. As everyone knows, match directors are just rich beyond means because of the money they make from being a match director. my match director fee also goes into Mission 22. So 100% of the proceeds. Well, so I've got the side matches that I tell everybody, you can shoot for free. I don't have a problem. It's a side match. You're welcome to do it. But I would like for you to make a donation to Mission 22. So we got a can out there. Everybody throws their money in. Well, I got a par time on my shot clock for 4 seconds. And I have a flasher at 50 yards. So you walk up to the line, you make ready, you insert your mag, charge your rifle, pull your mag out. You got one round in the gun. You're at low ready. At the beep, you got 4 seconds. Everybody that hits moves back another 50 yards. And we keep on going back until we get down to the last 2.
Dude, this is like a game of horse that you would play with your buddies at the range.
Exactly. And what fun is, too, because everybody's there.
Yeah.
So everybody's there, right? The funny thing is 4 seconds is a really long time.
It is.
Most people would break their shot, and then 2 seconds later, the par beep would go off. It's just like everybody was hurrying their shots. I was amazed more than half the people missed that first 10-inch plate at 50 yards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I had a buy back in on the very first one. If you missed the first one, you could buy back in. Whatever you paid to shoot the side, you could pay it again to keep going. So we go back another 50 yards and then another 50. We only got to 150 yards and we're down to 2 people.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. It's that 4 seconds, man. It's just amazing that 4 seconds is that much of a crunch.
You add time pressure to anything, you know?
You've only got 1 round in the gun. So there's a lot of pressure. It's all internal pressure, but there's a lot of pressure. So it's a guy with iron sights, the veteran shooter that I won't name his name, Brett Anderson, and skinny jeans. So we got an iron sight guy, and we got skinny jeans, and Brett pulls his gun out there. This one I'm going to a kneel position. So I had maybe a hay bale or some kind of barricade or something. So at the beep, you got to kneel, you got to break a shot. Veteran shooter misses it, skinny jeans pops it.
Nice.
And he gets the Rifle King, the Rock Hard Rifle King patch. I had a custom patch made in the shape of a crown that says Rock Hard Rifle King. Boom. What a great prize and what a great game because everyone was around. It was big fun.
It sounds like a good time. Like just, again, something that you would be doing on a Friday night anyway.
Right. Yeah. So Saturday, we shoot our stages. We shoot 3 stages a day. And when we're done, then we do all the Pistol King, Shotgun King, PCC King. The cool thing about those side matches is it's other people's ammo. So I have ammo sponsors that donate the rounds. Gamel's just agreed to give me 1,500 shotgun rounds. So the Shotgun King side match, you get to shoot somebody else's shot shells.
That's even better.
It is. And Grayson says that if your gun won't run the brand that they brought, then you probably ought to buy a gun. And they sell them. He didn't say that, but he probably thinks that. So, I have one of my stages I call the Pistol Bay Rumble. And if you've ever been to Rock Castle, you know the Pistol Bays. There's 5 bays. The last bay is a long bay. Well, this one stage uses all 5 bays. So you start at the end, and you have to run over berms and around berms and into berms and back and use all 3 guns and shoot a grueling 3. It's a 5-minute par time. My goal is that my winner shoots it in 3.
That's it's reminiscent of what we did last year at Hard as Hell, right? There was several climbing berm stages.
Yeah, well, I'm not afraid to say it, but Ken and his crew out there in Utah have inspired me to do a lot of things. Those guys have been at it longer than I have. A lot of times I'll reinvent the wheel. I'll do things differently, but then there are some things that are just good. And, like I said, I'm not afraid to admit it, that they've inspired me to use a lot of the styles and the techniques that they use out there. They run a good match.
Yeah, when I want to say that we had met like once before, but when we were chatting out at Hard as Hell, you were like, "Hey, I got this match coming up, and it's March in Kentucky," and I was like, "Dude, I'm not going to Kentucky in March. Like, be wet, cold, snowy mess. No, thank you." And what was the weather like, Bruce?
It was like 60, 65, and sunny.
Oh.
Yeah, it turned out just to be. the build up. So I'm at Rock Castle for the entire week prior, building the stages.
Yeah, because these are elaborate stages. It's not like you just go hang some shit from trees and shoot at them. Like, it's pretty involved, right?
It really is, so like I work on my stages just about every evening. I get home from work and I have a beer and I pull out my stage illustrations and I tweak my stages. So I think that it's, I don't have a lot going on as far as match design, and you get that when you come to one of my matches. You can see the time, the hours that I have in each stage, because I really do spend a lot of time working them out. I bounce ideas off my shooting buddies. I show them my illustrations, and it becomes, of course, I make the decisions, right? So I'm not going to do what they say, but every now and then you get a nice little nugget from somebody. And, this year, Christine has played a big role. She's really put some stages together for me. We come out to the barn and pop an adult beverage and just doodle around on stages. So I've got hours and hours and hours in each of the stages. I really, really think them through. But then I'm also open when I go to put them on the ground. I'm really quick to look for natural terrain advantages. So I'll completely change the stage if I can get over here and use this hump or this tree or something like that. So I'm not opposed to some last minute changes, but yeah, right now I've got 6 stages that when I look at them, I smile and I giggle.
Nice.
Because they're awesome. Because I know that my best shooter is going to take 3 minutes. And that's a long time on the clock.
It's a long time on the clock for sure.
So it's funny. I looked at last year, the winner of my match was on the clock for 17 minutes in 6 stages.
That's a long time. Like, I would... Man, I don't know what other match you could do that at.
Well, I looked at the Blue Ridge scores and I looked at Hard as Hell scores. So Blue Ridge is a 9-stage match. Hard as Hell's a 9 or 10. I know it was 10 this year. It may have been 10 last year, but it's a 9. Let's say it's a 9-stage match.
Mm-hmm.
They also finished in 17 minutes.
Oh, okay.
It was really funny it was like, oh, so 17 minutes is the magic number because that's where all these matches come in.
Yeah, but you have 3 less stages.
3 less stages, and it's the same time frame. So, yeah, they're hard. I don't make any apologies for that. It's called the Rock Hard, and I'm going at it to be hard. The other thing, there's this selfish self-motivation, right? I'd love it that people come to shoot my match, really design the match for me.
Yeah. Well, it's scratching your own itch, right? You at least have a customer base of 1 because you know that you'd want to shoot it. And there's probably a few more dudes out there like you. Yeah.
It's quite satisfying. It's just like, my airplane event. It's for me. This is the kind of thing that I want to do. It's awesome that everybody in the country wants to do it too. And, last year was the first year of the Rock Hard, and the response was overwhelming. They really, really loved it. And it does make me happy that there are like-minded people out there that want to do exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, I saw the footage from last year. Sunny, beautiful day, climbing up and down things, running with things, and I was like, well, I definitely messed up on this one. I think I even sent you a message like, yep, I was wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I remember. It was a pretty quick one, too. It was like the Tuesday after, like, dude, can't believe that I've waved that off.
I effed up. My bad.
Yeah. But that's all right. My response was probably, it was sold out, so I didn't care.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a problem. Being that it's short days, I have to really be conscious of getting the match done and trying to figure out how many people I can run through this thing and actually get it done with short days. So right. I hate it. I'm limited to 135 shooters, which is up. Last year I was 96 shooters.
Wow.
So I did find some space at my own time expense. I'm shooting. I moved the ROs to shoot the day before, I made a division called Hard Ass. So you can shoot. I was apprehensive to do this too, but you can shoot the match in one day. You can shoot the Hard Ass division.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking I got my ROs all on Friday, and it would be a lot easier on them, reset-wise, if they had other shooters with them. So I was able to open up another 18 spots just for people that wanted to shoot Hard Ass. I wasn't really sure if anybody would choose to do that, but the Hard Ass division is full.
Really? So what is the hard ass division? It's their responsibility to help the ROs reset on Friday or on Friday
They shoot all 6 stages on Friday
with the
with the
ROs.
ROs.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Right. Yeah. So, and I try to communicate really well with the shooters. My last email communication with all the registered shooters was that you're welcome to do walkthroughs on Friday if the stage is empty. I got 4 squads shooting 6 stages. I invited all the people doing walkthroughs to volunteer for reset. So I think that's a good compromise. If you really want to see a stage, what better way to see it than to walk through and do all the reset while it's going on, as opposed to just kicking people off the stage because someone else has it.
Yeah. The one thing that I would say though is that there is the air quotes I'm doing a walkthrough / resetting, and then there's the I'm actually helping reset.
Yeah,
So
no air gunning while you're resetting.
yeah, exactly. Like I've been, I've shot a lot of RO matches this season, and there was so many times where you see a guy like go tape 2 holes and then start air gunning. It's like, bro, if you're gonna do that, get out of here. Go to the next stage. Like, this is our match, and you'll have your time in like 20 minutes when we're done here.
Well, I have a unique stage design because they're so long. So I only have reset in the first half of the stage. My goal, and this was, back to my original set of the goals to do a match, is to be able to say, unload, show, clear, are you ready, stand by. That's my goal on every single stage. So I've got a second RO. His job is to deliver a ready shooter.
Nice.
With all the reset on the first half, the reset is completely done before the shooter's even done shooting. So it does make things flow very quickly. Again, this short time of year, I have to be crazy conscious about the time that it takes to actually run the shooters. Last year I did the math. It was funny because I emailed the shooters about 3 times. I brought it up at the shooters meeting, and then I emailed them immediately after that, and then I emailed them again. So if you do the math, if every single shooter wastes 30 seconds, so 30 seconds is not a long time. Like, oh, hey, Dave, you're up. Oh, shit, where's my magazine? Let me get this. You meander up to the start line.
Yep.
30 seconds is not a long time. Every shooter wastes 30 seconds. That's 6 hours.
That's crazy.
That's a ridiculous amount of time. So the motivation to get these people responsible for this time frame is I have got 4 stages of free ammo. I've got 5,000 rounds of bullets that need to be shot, and the only way we can shoot those is if the sun is up. So if you waste time out there dicking around, wasting 30 seconds, then nobody gets to shoot other people's ammo, and nobody gets to be crowned the Rock Hard Pistol King. So it's good motivation. It's one of those things I find, if you ask people to do things, explain the consequences of not doing those things, they'll do them.
Right.
That goes back, my shooters meeting is the shooter's responsibilities. I think that everybody should be reminded of the shooter's responsibilities. As a match director, I can spend 6 months going over every little detail of a match. Once that first shot goes off, it's out of my hands. There's nothing that I can do to expedite that match. It's absolutely up to the shooters. And the shooters need to look at it as a whole. It's like, hey guys, I know this is a place where you're thinking about yourself. It's all about you. You want to perform, but you need to think about 134 other people. And all those 134 other people, they want to get it done too. So, you take the time and you explain that to the shooters, what their responsibility is. They're in charge of things going smooth or not, and they'll do it for you.
Right. Yeah, we're all in this together.
Yeah, we are all in this together. Another way I've found to expedite the match is I don't have any pistol dump barrels in the match.
Yeah, that's unique.
When you ask a shooter to do something on the clock, they're going to do it really fast.
Yep.
So, but look at your typical match when you're discarding firearms along the course of fire. So unload, show, clear. Oh, let's go over here and get this one, and let's go over here and get this one. And where's my other gun? So by not having a pistol dump, You cannot holster a hot pistol in my match. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is it's a lot safer to reholster an empty gun. Not many people practice holstering a hot gun, and to have the pressure to do that on the clock, that's a bad idea. So I don't want people to have to holster a hot gun on the clock. And then there's another thing is if that gun falls out of their holster and it's loaded, you know what happens.
Go home. I've been there.
You go home. And so I've shot plenty of matches, and I thought, why the hell is my gun hot? Why is my pistol hot right now? It shouldn't be hot right now. It would be a lot better if it wasn't hot, because if I dropped it, I could pick it up. So there's the other motivation for not having a pistol dump. It expedites the match. When they're finished, their gun's on them, it's clear. And drop it, kick it, throw it. I don't care what you do with it, because we all know that it's empty.
And so there's a couple other rules that you got rid of that we would see in ordinary matches. What are those rules that you got rid of that you considered those aren't for me?
Well, it's funny. I hate safety rules that aren't really safety rules.
Mm-hmm.
We can call it a procedural. I'd be fine if you call abandoning a firearm without the safety engage a procedural. I'm on board. You wrote that rule, I'm fine with it. You give me a 10-second procedural. But when you call that a safety violation and you want to disqualify me or someone else, I'm throwing out the BS flag. I feel like it is the match director's job to design a safe receptacle to put a gun in any condition. We can't allow the shooter to do something and act like they're not going to do what we want them to, or act like nobody's going to do something unsafe. So, I try to again prevent that. I design a safe receptacle, and everybody does that now. You don't see any loose dump barrels anymore. Used to be pretty common, or you'd see something with a bouncy bottom. But so I've got the right receptacle. It's bolted down. It's not going anywhere. If your gun goes off in that receptacle, it's a safe place for you to discharge that firearm. So it's not a safety issue if your safety is not engaged. No penalty, no nothing. I do encourage people to give you some crap about it. If you dump a gun and it wasn't unsafe, I prefer, and the rules state this, I prefer it to be safe, but it's not a requirement, and I would hope your squad mates give you crap about it. So that's one of the rules that I got rid of. Another rule that I thought was, again, a safety rule, it's not a safety rule, it's kind of dumb, is that you can't touch two firearms at the same time. Or, they relax it a bit and say that you can't fire a firearm while you're touching another firearm. And again, I think, well, we can safely do that. Why not do that? To the point of last year, I started a stage with a shotgun, Virginia count, another thing that I get from USPSA. Virginia counts means you can only shoot X amount of rounds. Mm-hmm. It's a penalty if you shoot more. So I take that one step further. We start a shotgun array with 9 plates. You've got 9 in the gun. You're not allowed to reload at that point. So start position, boom, go, blast your 9 plates out, and then you immediately go to pistol. There's no dump bucket. So it's a pistol run through the woods, through paper targets. And there's no place to put your shotgun. So I forced the shooters to carry an empty shotgun while they shot pistol.
See, I think that's kind of cool. Like, it's in a safe condition. There's no ammunition in it, and right. There's a lot of times where we'll force people to carry something so they have to shoot, strong or weak hand. They'll have to do some one-handed shooting. Why not the shotgun?
Right. So, that was just kind of me thumbing my nose at that rule saying, okay, I think it's a dumb rule, so I'm going to force people to do it. Well, that stage worked out really good, because then I got the problem is after we shoot the pistol, you can't holster a hot pistol. But I need you to transition to your shotgun. So I came up with the idea of, I called them high-value targets. So you're up in the woods, you just shot your 9 shotgun shots, and you run through there and you blast these papers that are close, and you get to this log, and I've got one piece of steel, a 10-inch plate at about, 30 yards. Not a real hard plate, but you have to drop your pistol mag and then shoot the plate.
Nice. I like that.
And that was a 20-second penalty. It was a high value target. So, there's this pressure that I kind of force people to put on themselves. It's a strong hand only shot. It doesn't have to be. You can throw your empty shotgun on the ground. Matter of fact, a lot of people did. But you've only got one bullet to shoot this plate. And 50% of my competitors missed that target. It was an easy, a 10-inch plate at 30 yards, we should be able to hit that all day, right?
Yeah, it's like the rifle target we were talking about earlier. Once you put stakes or constraints on something, it becomes more important, and our heads pay more attention to it, and maybe too much attention to it, and cause us to screw up.
Yeah, I love working those internal pressures any chance that I get. So yeah, that was fun. I actually did that in a couple other spots where you had to drop the mag and take the one shot. That reminds me, I just made a note. I don't have any of those in the match this year. I need to work that in. That was a fun target. So another rule that I thought is just as dumb as it can be. Once you abandon a firearm, it's dead. Yeah. You can't use it. So this goes back to my match design rules. This is a rule that I refer back to. Actually, I know them pretty well, so I don't have to refer back to, but I remember them. So one of the uniqueness or the flavor of my match is I want you to use your guns more than once. So it's not your standard 3-gun match where you just roll through succession. Pistol, rifle, shotgun, shotgun, rifle, pistol, however you do it, but you shoot one, get rid of it, shoot another one, get rid of it, finish with one. I don't do that in any stages. So somehow I make you come back to a gun. Either, if it's rifle, I had a stage last year, you had to sling the rifle 2 times. So you shoot it, you sling it, you shoot something else, you shoot the rifle, you sling it, you shoot something else, you shoot the rifle. That actually was a really tough stage because unloading, slinging, unslinging, that binds people up. The good guys, it doesn't bother them. The guys that are in it to win it, they can sling a rifle and unsling a rifle just as fast as they can load a pistol. Mm-hmm. But the people that didn't practice it, that was tough. And I do it with the pistol. It's easy. You unload the pistol, you holster it, you shoot a bunch of stuff, and you get your pistol back out. But there are other times where I'll do it with shotgun. So, I'll force you to shoot a shotgun array, dump your shotgun in a barrel, run off, shoot a bunch of other stuff, and come back, pull that shotgun out of the barrel, load it back up, and get back on it. That's just one of the flavors that I like of my match. I love doing that. And I do it in every stage. You're going to use a gun. At least one of them, you're going to use it twice.
Very cool. Well, so the Rock Hard has a ton of thought put into it. It's a 6-stage match, and you get time on the clock from 9 stages, which is excellent value for the money, by the way. When you went out to Hard as Hell this year, there's a little behind the scenes meeting, and it sounds like there's some collaboration going on across the U.S. for matches like Rock Hard that are more physical, more difficult, lot of shooting, a lot of time spent on the clock.
Yeah, really exciting. So this is my 3rd year going out to Hard as Hell in Utah, and so I probably shouldn't tell everybody this, but after the match, I call it the after party. So, Christine always goes out with me, and she's a trooper. She loves hanging out and seeing everything shoot. Well, last year she decided we didn't want to ship ammo back. We were just going to go out in the desert. Everybody there says, oh yeah, just pull off the road anywhere and shoot your ammo. I'm like, well, that's kind of lame, but we were spending vacation there for a while.
Also sounds like a trap.
It does sound like a trap. Exactly right. It sounds like a trap. Like, I'm not a sucker. What are they doing to me? Just because I'm Kentucky, they're going to try to get me into this federal trap? So anyway, it's Monday morning after the match. We're getting ready to roll. And Christine says, hey, can't we just go back to the range and shoot there? And I thought, well, probably. I shoot Ken Nelson a text and tell him, what we want to do. And his response is, gates unlocked. Be safe. Have fun. So that was the first Hard as Hell after party. You can actually go to YouTube and look for Hard as Hell after party because I put together a nice video. So Christine gets to with no one there, right? So they put as much energy into their match as anyone. All their staff is there for weeks ahead of time and just working their butts off for the match. So nobody is there on Monday. So we go. Christine gets to shoot all the ammo she wants. She gets to try every prop, shoot out of the trenches, and shoot all this other stuff. So that's the plan. We do that again this year. Well, I talked because Brian Nelson's the match director. I asked him, and he's like, yeah, sure, be safe, have fun. So we're out there blasting away ammo. She's, up on a tower shooting at the 470-yard target, which she hit on 3 power, by the way. So, like, I'm looking up, she's on the tower, and she's dialing the scope back, and I'm thinking, what is she doing? And then she starts blasting this 470-yard target, so I hit it on the clock, and I was just as happy as I could be. And then she gets up there and pops it on 3 power, and I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? So anyway, we're out there shooting, and Brian Nelson comes out and says, hey, let's go to lunch. And I was like, well, we got some ammo to shoot. Let's go to lunch later. So we have a lunch meeting, and Brian says, let's do a Hard as Hell series. Let's make it 3 matches and have a points race and have a Hard as Hell series champion.
Points race?
So, yeah, and I mean, I'm just as excited as I can be. I'm like, oh, this is a great idea. Sure. So Sky Killian out in Texas, she's actually in Waxahachie, Texas, which is Dallas. Sky's putting on Hard as Hell Texas, and that's going to be in September 21st. So she's the second stop in the Hard as Hell series. The Rock Hard is the first stop. And then, like I said, Sky's putting on that match out at the Extreme Tactics and Training Solutions range, which is a range that I'm pretty sure she runs with her husband. I could be way wrong on that. But anyway, they run matches. It's a great facility out there. Have you been there?
So, no, I haven't been to that one. She actually runs the 3-gun match out there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So she's got some experience. She's a Hard as Hell shooter. She's been out there for a couple of years. So she's got, great experience in shooting that match. She loves shooting the hard stuff. Brian's working with her this year to, make sure that she has the flavor of the match. I'm working with her. So ever since the meeting, we've been exchanging emails and really some great ideas and some great plans. And it's just exciting as it can be. Louisville to Dallas is where you go when you fly, no matter where you're going to end up. So
oh, nice.
I can do a straight flight in there in September, and she's gonna put on the same style of match. So anybody that's excited about the physical stuff, the high round count, just getting spent on the clock, we've got 3 venues to do it, and somebody is going to be the Hard as Hell series champion.
Yeah, and it's cool that you guys, not only created this series, but the people involved are great. Like, you're super enthusiastic. I know that Sky is super enthusiastic about shooting and competing in competition as well. Obviously, the Nelsons are. It's their life pretty much for Brian, and it's cool to see passionate people coming together and building something more than what they could do on their own. Yeah.
It's exciting.
Well, so the match at ETTS, when is that happening?
The match is going to be the weekend of September 21, 22, 23.
Okay.
And she is working on opening registration on New Year's. So January 1st, you should be able to sign up for the match. And that's all that I know. I would expect her to be, that time of year, longer days. She's got nicer weather out there in Texas. So I would expect that to be a 9 or a 10 round match. And, fully hard. Plate carriers and dragging heavy stuff and climbing over things. Nice.
And so that's that, if you listen real time, is just 5 days away. Registration opens for that. And the Hard as Hell, the traditional Hard as Hell in St. George, Utah, is going to be first weekend in December, like it usually is. Not sure when registration is going to open up, but so those are the 2 matches that you can get this year. And for all of us, late comers here that aren't in Rock Hard, how's the point series going to work? Is it going to hurt the people that weren't able to get into Rock Hard this year?
We haven't really gone thoroughly down that road, but I suspect that it's just going to be the points from all 3. So, yeah, if you're not in the Rock Hard, I don't think you're going to win the series this year.
I gotcha.
Right. It shouldn't cut down on the fun factor.
No.
And I do have a lot of people in the Rock Hard that shoot the hard as hell. There's some heavy hitters that got in there, some guys that are in it to win it. That's exciting. My match is full, a little bit over full, if I'm honest. But next year, hopefully you can get in. I tell you what I do. I did this my first year, and unless somebody tells me it's a really bad idea, and I probably wouldn't listen to that person anyway, I'm going to keep doing it. All of my the only person that would tell me it's a really, really bad idea are the people that haven't ever shot my match. Everybody that shot my match last year got to sign up a week before registration opened.
Yeah.
For the match this year.
So I've experienced that one. I'm sorry. I've experienced that one before in other matches, and been kind of a grump about it, a vocal grump, if you will. And I was bitching. Let's be honest. And it's because I wasn't a part of that match. But as someone who's now returning to matches after like my first year traveling and shooting major matches, I do see that as a value for sure.
Yeah, especially something like mine. I'm limited to 135 shooters. So is it fair to award places to the people that had the best schedule and they could be off and their computer connection was really fast? I think that's less fair. So, I like to reward. Again, I'm a charity match. So 100% of what I do is for Mission 22. I want to write a big fat check to them. Last year, I wrote them a $5,000 check. This year, I'd like to write them a $8,000 or $9,000 check. So the people that came to the match, they gave me a lot of money. They didn't give me a lot of money. They gave Mission 22 a lot of money. I don't feel bad rewarding them for that. The match fee pays everything that's left over, and I've got a ton of expenses, right? I mean, there's food, and there's I got a 50 cal this year. We're all shooting a 50 caliber to start a stage.
Nice.
A big old carry. How crazy is that? There's ammo. I got to buy 1,500 rounds. Well, no, I got to buy 135 rounds. Either way, I'm buying a bunch of ammo. So I like to reward the guys. I'm going to ask them to pay $5 on the spot. You can dry fire the gun, or you can buy a round for $5. So these people show up, and out of 96 people last year, I raised $5,000. That's significant.
That is significant.
They need to get rewarded if they like the match, if they like what I do, and they want to keep supporting Mission 22. Then they get first dibs to get into the match. It's a reward. I like to work those rewards in all the way around.
I like that. Well, so Bruce, what is for those not familiar, what is the Mission 22? I guess mission. What is their mission?
I think that in part it's awareness that 22 veterans a day commit suicide. It's a made up number, but it's a damn close number, and it's a horrible statistic that. If we look at demographics of suicides, veterans are just far outweigh anyone else. If you look at female suicides, that's almost exclusively veterans. So, it's an outreach program. It's a help program. It's everything that they can do to try to get help to these people that are on the edge. Try to prevent this stuff and save our heroes. These are people that make America. It's an important thing to me. I'm a veteran. I've lost veteran friends to suicide. It's a terrible thing. So I think first is awareness. The more that we know about this, the more that we talk about this, and the more that someone in that position realizes that there's a support system out there. And then I think secondly, there's the help program. They do things. They engage veterans that are coming back from some bad situations, and try to get them in a place where they can move forward, where they've got some positive things going in their life. So, my impression is it started as an awareness, and it ends up as an outreach and a help, and just really saving the lives of people that are out there doing American things for American people. So it's important to me, and it should be important to everybody. There's plenty you can learn about Mission 22, mission22.org. And those guys are all going to be there. Mission 22 has a shooting team, and it's comprised of veterans that were most likely operators, and they're coming back and they're shooting. Those guys are going to be at my match. They're all shooting the hard ass division.
Nice.
So they're shooting. They're hard-ass people.
Yeah.
Their shooting is done on Friday. So then I've got the Mission 22 team is going to be there. They're going to be there running my side matches. They're going to be there selling raffle tickets. So, I'm not a prize table match. I think that, at least for what I do as a charity, I don't want to spend any money on prize tables. I do a custom patch for the winner. I think it's just an awesome award. The people that got them last year love it. You can stick it on your sleeve. You can put it on your range bag, and it's a trophy that you can just parade around for the rest of the year. So I have awards. I also have prizes. Because it's a Mission 22 match, I use 22 throughout the match. Like just about every time you pick up your shotgun, you're going to have to shoot 22 targets. Every stage I work it in. There's 22, I've got a stage that has 22 paper targets on your pistol run. So your first start with a pistol run is going to shoot 44 rounds at paper. Not just static paper, stuff that moves around. I still got buddies from USPSA, and they are the king of activated moving paper targets.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
I work 22 in there all over the place throughout the stages. You'll see that as you shoot the match. You'll hear that in the stage briefs. But what's, it's kind of funny. The same thing I did with my airplane contest. I have trophies for the winners, but I always get a sponsor that makes the best model airplane that there is. And these little airplanes are $1,500, $2,000. They're expensive little toys. So I've always awarded the middle of the pack. The guy that finishes exactly in the middle gets the best model airplane that money can buy. And I've found out over the years that guy is much more appreciative. That sponsor gets more mileage out of the middle of the pack than anyone else.
Yeah.
First off, the guy really needed it, and that guy's really happy about it. And damn, he's a medium pilot, and he got the best prize. So it's such a good response. I've been doing that for 9 years. They absolutely love it. They even try to game it. Difficult to do in shooting, difficult to do in flying toy airplanes. It's tough. So anyway, I've got some really kick-ass sponsors, and I save the best prizes, guns, things with serial numbers on them. 22nd place overall is going to get something with a serial number on it. The winner's going to get a patch. 22nd place is going to get a kick-ass gun. I do that on stages as well. So when I bring a sponsor says, oh, hey, I want to sponsor a stage. Well, I say, okay, two things. I need two prizes. I need one, a lesser prize, or even, it's up to you, but I need a prize for a stage winner. Every stage winner gets something.
No, that's pretty cool.
And I need a really cool prize for 22nd place. So 22nd place on every stage is going to walk away feeling damn good because they got something that was, pretty awesome.
I like that. It's there's going to be like the top guys duking it out who aren't going to like that, obviously, but for the rest of us, the general population, I guess you could say, that's a pretty cool thing to have,
There again, that's self-motivated. I'm a middle-of-the-road shooter. I'd love to be. I'd love to come in on a really good day. Like, I'm middle of the road, but if I have a really good day, I could be up there in 22nd place. Hell, I got 10th place on a stage, overall 10th place on a stage out at Hard as Hell this year. That's like my career highlight. Right?
Yeah, buddy.
Right. So, yeah, it's really exciting. I love to do that 22nd place thing. And, that reminds me, too. So I have the stage that uses all the bays. I call that the Pistol Bay Rumble, or PBR for short.
Oh, nice. I was wondering where that came into play.
Yeah, so the PBR. So, that stage was great last year. It's 5 bays. I could do that for 10 years straight, 3 matches a year, and it would always be different. So I kept that spot. There are some iconic places at Rock Castle that, they've got 3,000 acres. I could put something down in the woods, but there's some pretty iconic spots. I mean, a Pistol Bay is not iconic, but Cowboy Town and the Bathhouse, those are really unique places. Anyway, back to the Pistol Bay Rumble. So secretly, as I'm setting up, I was talking to Nick and Nate, and I said, hey, I need a 6-pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon, a 6-pack of PBR, and that's going to be the stage prize. So whoever wins this stage is getting an iced down 6-pack of PBR. Awesome idea. Really, really cool. Until a junior wins the stage.
Now what?
Oh, it was actually, I had a lot of fun with it. You know, if you come to the match, plan to stay for the awards. Plan to be there for the shooters meeting, because I have a lot of fun with it. In this case, you know, I talk it up and stage winners. Well, I had them in a brown paper bag, so nobody knows what I've got in my hand, right? So, you know, congratulations. I give 22nd place for that stage. I forget what it was. So anyway, I was like, all right, first place, and I reach into the bag and zip the bag off, and there it is, a 6-pack of PBR Tall Boys. Actually, I think it's a 4-pack. Don't they come in 4s? Who drinks that stuff anyway?
I think they come in 6 because it's
cheap.
They
were the Tall Boys. They were the 1-pounders.
Yeah. Do they come in other sizes?
I don't know. So anyway, I whipped that out, and I'm like, hey, Jake Tukoskic. So, you know, here comes this 17-year-old junior running up, all big smile, you know, just ear-to-ear smile, and he outstretches his hands, and about a half inch before he touched the beers, I jerked him away from him and called his dad up there. And, well, you know, there were some videos going on. I didn't want to be contributing to the delinquency. Of
course.
So anyway, his dad came up, and I let his dad take the beers from me, and it was a good, fun time. And I think it probably worked out really good from the father-son standpoint, because Dad got to share. When they got home, he told me they iced them down, and, you know, they sat down and had a beer. But as a dad, it was probably the best choice, because his first taste of beer was just a skunky, nasty beer. So that probably kept him on the straight and narrow, uninterested in beer at that point.
Yeah, if that's what beer tastes like, then you don't want any of it.
You're right. I'm out.
Well, Bruce, man,
yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've got some really good sponsors this year, so you know I'm gonna be able to pull off the first and the 22nd on stages, and you know, cat's out of the bag. The winner of the Pistol Bay Rumble is getting some Tall Boy PBRs.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And if it's an adult, I'll expect him to do the PBR challenge right there and shotgun one.
Oh, nice.
That'd be great. So I'm putting this out there. Whoever wins the PBR stage, you better cannonball that beer right in front of everybody.
The gauntlet has been thrown down. I love it.
I'd love to see it. Yeah.
Well, Bruce,
yeah.
You know,
go ahead.
Like I said, man, I love your enthusiasm. I think the supporting a charity is a great thing. You're doing cool stuff in conjunction with the Rock Castle Shooting Center, ETTS, SUPS, all kinds of great people involved in the series that you're doing, and of course your match. So, man, I wish you well. I hope you guys have a great match and a lot of fun, and I appreciate you being here on the 3-Gun Show and telling us all about it.
Oh, it was my pleasure, Dave. Good spending the afternoon with you.
Hey, before you take off, check out the show notes at 3gunshow.com for links to things that Bruce and I discussed in this podcast. You can also sign up on Patreon as a 3-Gun Show supporter or purchase your very own Born to 3-Gun Show t-shirt. As always, this podcast is brought to you by Armalite. Armalite has allowed me to get special pricing for listeners on their line of 3-gun rifles, both the 13.5 and the 18-inch, as well as their competition handguards, gas blocks, and tunable muzzle brakes. If you're in the market for a rifle or component to build your own, email me, dave@3gunshow.com, and I will hook you up. Thank you so much for downloading, listening, and subscribing to the show. I'm Dave Hartman for Bruce Davidson. We'll see you on the range.
If you are finished, unload, show clear.